Hi everyone. So it's been a year since I've had this boogie board, and I'll just talk about what I think of it after a year. The battery is still good. However, it has picked up a bit of an artifact in one of the corners. I'm not sure what caused it. It could be maybe a little bit of water. Water has seeped in the corner, or maybe an impact or something has caused it to do that. I don't recall dropping this thing, but you can see there it is. There's that kind of a weird bluish tinge. It hasn't affected anything else on it. It hasn't affected my drawings because I pretty much never draw in the corner. But that's the only thing that's really been of issue. It hasn't picked up any scratches either. And other than that, everything else seems to be working quite well. What has changed a lot, and probably what I'll be spending most of my time talking about from here on out, since not much has changed with the board, it's all about this, which is a Stedler Mars Technico lead holder. It's a 2mm lead holder, and typically you would find these for drafting purposes. And I'm using this instead of the stylus. I haven't lost the stylus, it's just in another room, and I'm not worried about it. Because my issue with the previous stylus was that it was too heavy, because it had a metal body that was meant so that the magnets in this rail could catch onto that metal body, but it was too heavy. It didn't feel very good as a writing utensil. The tip was also blunt, so it was hard to get a really fine line at times. And also the tip was made of black plastic, dark black plastic, which, as you can tell on a dark black surface, had poor contrast, was very hard to kind of sense. And so the lines just never quite felt like they were coming out exactly where I wanted them to come out. So I have since replaced that with this Stedler lead holder, which is like maybe $15 to $20 on a place like Amazon, or you can probably pick one up on eBay or find them at a drawing store. These drafting pencils are quite common. And instead of loading it with graphite, I use a toothpick. And I sharpened this toothpick with the same lead holder that you would use to sharpen the leads. And so sharpening these, like the thing is that the toothpicks, not all toothpicks are 2mm. I got lucky with this one. They do come in different sizes and girths. And the problem is that these toothpicks are a little too girthy for this lead holder. The problem is if you use a toothpick that is too girthy for the lead holder, it will get stuck inside. And this one is just right. I had to sand down the outside just a little bit. And so what that does is that allows me to drop this. I can drop the pick inside. Now it's safe. It's not going to get broken. And then I can just feed it out like that. And I have both tips sharpened. So if for whatever reason I start to feel like one tip's getting too blunt, and believe me, it holds a tip for a really long time. If a tip gets too blunt, I can just flip it over. And so sharpening it is a little tricky because it's not graphite. It's going to be a little bit more catchy. So usually these holders, the way they work is they come in different sizes. This is the much larger one, which Barrel Turquoise makes. This one is the one by Mars Stedler. Obviously, this is the more expensive one. This is the cheaper one. I'll show you with the cheaper one because this is really all you need. And what it does is you've got the sharp, there's like a hole that has a little icon on it, which says this is for sharp, that one's for blunt. So we'll use the sharp one. You just feed it in there and then you push on the back end and then you just let it stop there. So that you just feed it in like this. It's going to be very catchy. So don't apply too much force. Don't try to drive it into the pen holder. Like don't stab it in there too tightly. You want to use very little pressure because at first it's going to be very, very, very catchy. If you're trying to stab it in there too tightly, then it's just going to catch and it's not going to go. So you want a minimum of pressure, and you just want lots of travel, lots and lots of lateral rolling travel on it, and gradually it will grind down. It's still kind of catchy right now. Oh, very, very catchy. If that happens, just back it off a bit, maybe rotate the pencil a little bit, and just keep. Oh, there we are. It's starting to smooth out. Yeah, there we go. You just want to get to that point where it starts to smooth out, and then once it smooths out, just give it a bunch of good just really smooth off that. There we are. Really, really sharp now. And now you can use this for there we are, right? You can use it for shading type lines. You can see how that looks. And the reason why I say sharpen it is because when you sharpen it, you give it a very flat profile. You make it so that it's a flat cone. So the flat cone is able to make a big wide band. If you don't sharpen it, then oftentimes these toothpicks will have a rounded tip, which is very hard to control. So this makes it much easier to get that shading profile on it. Honestly, I don't actually do it very often, but just thought I'd put that out there. And then, yeah, it's just really nice in that I have a really good feel for where the line's coming out. And because it's so sharp, I can be very, very gentle. Be very gentle, and I can get a really thin line out of this thing. And then whenever you want to store it, you just push that, let gravity pull the thing in. And I'll just show you the different angles on it, because lighting, the angle at which you're looking at the line has a very drastic effect on how visible that line actually is. So and also on cameras, web cameras tend to pick this up in different ways. So I thought I'd just tilt this around so you get to really, really see how that line is being picked up. But yeah, if you are seeing this video for the first time, the Boogie Board is a excellent tool for doing all of your practice drills and exercises, or for doodling stuff that, you know, if you are having a bad drawing day and you're afraid of, oh no, you're afraid of making a bad drawing that other people are gonna see, and oh, you can just nuke it, right? Like, that's why I love it, because of the disposability of drawings. And, you know, I know there's a lot of people who will say, no, you have to save everything, save all your sketchbooks. And for me, I'm like, never, destroy, destroy, destroy. And I can send my drawings off to oblivion at the push of a button. And that's really, really nice. And it's just really nice for being able to do all of my drawing practice at the start of a day. And then the other thing that I love about it is that, like, some people will be like, well, I've got a tablet with a stylus and it can draw, right? Why use a Boogie Board? Because this thing can't even save. And for me, it's like, I love the fact that, you know, it's like I just pick the thing up and I go. Nothing to boot up. The stylus feel is so much better, because instead of plastic on plastic, it's like, I don't like that feeling. I like the feeling of the wood on the plastic. It feels a lot better. It's not as good as, say, graphite on paper, but it's actually pretty good. It feels nice and smooth with this wood on plastic. And yeah, it's like, I like how sharp the line is. If I'm drawing very faintly, very, very lightly, I get a really nice soft line. You can push a little harder and you'll get a thicker, darker line, but it really does not require much pressure at all to get a pretty good, strong line on this thing. And again, I just love the fact that the line, I feel like I can really tell where that line's coming out. Because if you have like if you have a really blunt nib, then, you know, if you apply a little bit of pressure, you'll still get a thin line, but it's kind of hard to tell exactly where on the nib that line's coming at. Whereas this thing it feels very precise. Feels very, very precise. And I really, you know, it gives me a lot more confidence in the line. So yeah, that's what I would highly recommend is, yeah, get this thing is really just good for your warm-up drawings. It's good for throwaway drawings. It's good for, you know, if you just quickly need to hash out an idea. It's really, yeah, that's what they sell these things for. And I've been very, very happy with my purchase. This is one of the things that, like, I use this thing every day, and especially whenever I have to go and take a poop and I need to draw. So yeah, it's been really good for it. Yeah. Other than that, I guess video's long enough. I'll talk to you all later. Oh, and when you're done, you just boop, retract that, and then you can throw this in your bag, and that's safe. That won't hurt anything and won't break off. All right.